Are you ready to unplug? This is going to be a little bit of a different video today, and I'm actually going to talk a little bit more about unplugging from the program. How do you go into a completely different world? You have to look at the one you're living now, what you're exposed to, what you've plugged into. Do you want to unplug from the program? Do you want to live something that you've never dreamed that was possible? How do you get away from where you are to get to where you want to be? We have to unplug, because those are short cords. You have to unplug to get over here to this amazing spot, that place in your life that is possible, because you are the creator of all things. Don't believe it? Let's unplug that one. You ready for this? Let's unplug. Let's go. Welcome to Landria Unc on YouTube, here to help you break through those fears and live an amazing life. I was just talking to somebody and I said, I've lived a life of breaking through the fears. What does that do for you? Well, let's say you want to go after something really big and you're afraid. And you've got all the stories, the programs, you're plugged into the you can't do this. Your parents are saying, you should have, could have, who are you to think that? And then you've got that plug into the friends that you hang out with because it's safe to be in this zone of not going after your dreams. And so you've got all these plugs in, and in order to get to that other place, you cannot function the way you are right now. You have to unplug. You have to stop fueling the programs and plugging more into it to survive, to get over here. Now, this means you're going to have to do a few things. When I went after the things that were insanely impossible, most of the time I achieved them. Why? Because it's impossible. So we have all of these people here who say that, and so they stay plugged in. They stay plugged in and they don't go after it. What's that do? It eliminates my competition. I've gone after things people said, no way. The odds were against me. That's impossible. It's impossible for odds to be against you. They're only against you if you are in that form of thinking, that self-limitation, that self-sabotage. And then you're not going over here because you really don't believe it in the first place. So you will function over here the way you have been to make sure it doesn't happen, because deep down you don't believe it. And you don't even realize that you're actually undermining your own efforts. So before we get started, I hope you will subscribe to my channel. YouTube's algorithms have changed, and so we have to earn those subscribers. Most of all, I would love to know what you want to hear about. So in the comments, let me know. What subjects do you want to hear about? I want you to know we're going into a brave new world. And so you've watched The Matrix, most likely, right? Keanu Reeves, great actor. I love him. He's actually a very cool, spiritual kind of guy, a very giving guy, living a simple life. He's sort of unplugged. Is he successful? Extremely. You can live that world. You don't have to follow what everybody else is doing because you think they're successful. There's a new success out there that's happening. I want to help you to get it. Another thing I just want to mention, go down in the description, digitalexplorers.net. We're creating planet conscious businesses. Oh no, not woo-woo tree hugging stuff, although you can hug trees all you want. You can make money doing that. I'm teaching people how to create businesses that are responsible, real businesses with strategies. You see, that's the new world we're going to talk about today. So, who are you hanging out with? We're going to take a look at every part of your life to ask you who you are now and how we unplug. Who are those people that surround you? Are they doing things that you want to do? Are they achieving things that you want to achieve? Do you look up to them? Do you go to them for advice? If not, why not? See, it's safer to be the top guy and top gal in the basement. It's easy. It's easy to do that, right? Although the basement, they're all going to turn on each other down there anyways. It's a low frequency and they're in survival mode. They're about me and what I'm going to get. So if you're hanging around with that, you're never going to have the loyalty or anybody who really gives to you to help elevate you. So that's a mentality that you have to plug into. And that is this person selfless? Do they serve others? Have they achieved their own goals? They're secure. They're feeling confident, right? So they can give. A lot of times when you go into corporations, you guys know how this works. They're all clawing at each other, dissing one another, undermining one another, insecurity, all that. Why? Because they are in low frequency, me kind of thinking. And so their ego always protects itself. Who does the bully pick on? Not another bully that's bigger than them. They pick on the little guy and little gal, right? But the meek shall inherit the earth. What does that mean? Those who don't have to prove anything, who are the creators that create the new world, in peace, who don't take sides, who don't point fingers, because we learn from this. You have to unplug. Now, I'm going to ask you what systems you're in that are keeping you from elevating yourself to the next level. I just unplugged from something that was a little difficult for me to do. So especially if you're an entrepreneur or not, even everyday life, when we go through difficult times, the first thing that you want to do is survive. And the more you plug into the things that you think are going to help you, the more you set yourself up really to fuel the wealth and the progress of those that are not thinking about you. They're not putting your best interests in mind. So I'm talking about banks, credit companies, corporations, the health and wellness industry. I'm talking about all of those. Are you plugged into it? Because if you are fueling it, then you are the reason why they're so successful. And what happens if fast food doesn't get any drive-throughs? People just stop. They're at home cooking organic meals with their family. They're unplugging their phones and all this media. And actually, well, when I grew up, sitting around a table together. We had game night. We were never allowed to watch television while we ate. I think once in a while my mom got the TV trays out. Remember those, if you're my age? TV trays. And we would get to eat a meal and watch a show. That was a big deal. What are you doing right now that you need to take a really good hard look at and say, is this helping me to go toward, get closer to the goals that I want? It could be financial, it could be relationships, it could be health. I want you to take a really good hard look at yourself, and that's not easy to do. Is that working? So you may have been doing certain things and it's still going on and nothing's changing. And the same mind that created the problem cannot solve the problem. What do you need to unplug from? All right, so as a business owner, I've even had to say, okay, debt is great for us because that's the only way we can survive, but to what extreme do you take it? It could be personally. Okay, health-wise, okay, so I have to take certain things, to maintain my health, but what's the alternative to that that's going to take some of my effort to get me in a safer place, a healthier place with lower blood pressure? What am I doing? What toxins am I putting in my body? You have to unplug. What am I exposing myself to in media? And the more you unplug and unplug, the more you are not exposed to what you're exactly creating. You're exposed to that which you're choosing that may not be popular, and you may not get support. Family, friends, even relationships may not support you. Are you in a relationship that's toxic? I hear this narcissist and this blame and pointing fingers and trying to understand the narcissist. You don't have to understand a narcissist. They're just thinking about themselves. They're probably the most insecure people walking the planet. Why? Because they have to be right all the time because they really don't love themselves. Send them compassion, but don't be the victim. Have you been a victim of anything in your life? Is it time for you to take a real good hard look at that and say, what are the changes I have to make? Because if that person thinks that they're so great they can control me, what's wrong with me that's allowing that? Unplug it. There's nothing wrong with narcissists. They are programmed from what they've come from and what they believe and what they're choosing. Accept that and walk away. You don't have to analyze anything. Why are you with that person in the first place? So we have to take responsibility. It's part of breakthrough fear. If you've been through my breakthrough fear course, you know one of the first things we do is we take responsibility for all of our actions, because when we do that, we're saying, I hold the power. If I take responsibility, then I can change anything. I can't blame anybody anymore. Yeah, maybe they have been programmed to be abusive or whatever it is, and then they projected it on me, but I can take responsibility to stop that. If you are in any area that is fueling something that is not keeping our best interests in mind, and like I said, the financial industry is one of the biggest ones, I had to take a good hard look at how I'm operating with my businesses and ask myself if I'm going to go to the next level, because that's where I am right now. I'm scaling my businesses. I cannot operate as this business and achieve that. So I have to find out how those businesses are operating in order to achieve those goals. And there's something different I need to do. What areas of my life do I need to change? And it's going to take some real kahunas for you to look at your life and say, why am I unhealthy? Why am I not earning what I should? Why am I in a company that doesn't treat me well? Why? It's not them. I'm choosing. I chose that. And I can also choose to unplug from it. And so maybe you take a pay cut and you go to a company that they're amazing, they're doing amazing things, but maybe, just maybe, that turns out to be the biggest opportunity of your life, and you start to feel better and healthier, and they give you a promotion, right? Because the other guys are rejecting these opportunities because they're not making enough, but they're in that game over there and having heart attacks. You're coming over here and saying, I'm really loving what I'm doing. And then all of a sudden opportunities open for you. Why? Because you're into that higher frequency of expansion. That's expansion. So when you're plugged in, there's nowhere to go from there, right? I'm operating under these systems that don't have my best interests in mind. I want you to sit down and name everything in your life that isn't working well. Is it your finances? Do you have a lot of debt that you could change that? Are you not earning enough money? Is your relationship unhealthy? Are you blaming your family? What about your friends? Are those really the best people for you to hang out with? Who do you really want to be? Because you can be anybody. You aren't just Bob or Sally or just Landria the way you think you know that. You could be anybody you want. You could be more outgoing. You could be happier. You can be anything. But only you can decide to end that reality and go over here. So you don't plug into something new. You get rid of the plugs. Because now you're open to everything. So maybe you don't know what that new version of you looks like because you've never experienced it. And that's okay. You'll start to learn what that is. And so you don't want to define yourself as something that puts you in a box. Say, I don't know what this is, but I know it's not that. So I know I have to end this relationship or end this health issue that I have. I have to end the things that I'm eating or drinking or drugs or whatever it is you're doing. I have to end the negativity. That's a huge plug. Negativity, negative media, programming, arguing, taking sides. We're programmed to take sides. Why? It keeps us at odds with one another. And as long as we're doing that, we are not creating a cohesive community working together. You think that you have differences, that means that everybody else has to think what you do? You're totally in the basement. You'll never get to that penthouse, because in the penthouse they work together as a team. That's what makes them flourish, because they're putting the other first. And when you serve others, you serve self. That's how it works. And when you take everything you knew and you share, others will gladly give back to you. Have you ever had somebody who's a taker? Do you want to give to them? No. They don't appreciate you. We all want to be appreciated, right? When you have somebody that really values you, that's who you want to be around. That's who you want to give to. Because you know you're never going to have to worry about the check, and you're always giving, and they're never getting their wallet out, and you're saying, wait a second, I'm being used here. That's up to you. First time, shame on them. Second time, shame on you, right? That's how it works. And it is time for you to create the new world that you want to live, because you have every capability of doing that. Every single one. How do you do it? Who do you value out there who, maybe at least on the surface, we can't know everybody and what they're doing. Who do you really look up to? And it's okay to look up to somebody because you can become that person too, your own version of it. Learn from them. And I can guarantee you this. Every single person in any position that you look up to or think you would like to emulate has been through the ringer. That's how they got there. They were willing. They were willing to learn. They were willing to make mistakes. They were willing to fail. There's no such thing, actually. To get in that position, and I'm talking about income, business, personal satisfaction, health. You don't get healthy if you're sitting around eating Cheetos, watching TV, right? You can't have a healthy relationship unless you're a giver, you're putting that effort in, or you're with a person who values you. So you have to be on that same level. You have to entangle with that which you tune into. You cannot listen to rock and roll if you're tuned into classical music. It just can't, it won't work. Is classical music out there? Yes. I have to tune in, I have to actually tune into it, and that's all it is. So we cannot be plugged into this and expect that to happen, but that's what most people do. I want this, let's pray, and they got that plug. Oh, I can't get to it. Unplug it. It's not so scary. I just told somebody when I was an investment banker and in this prestigious position, yeah, not so prestigious. I struggled so terribly with all of it. Just the whole world. I don't know how I even got into it. Do you feel that way, right? And so I unplugged one night, and my Series 7 and 66, my licenses were going to expire at midnight, and I thought, I'm probably going to freak out. It's a tough test to take. It was the greatest thing I ever did. And I had unplugged, and all of a sudden, it was gone. That option was gone. The option that wasn't working for me. I was plugged into something that I didn't love. What was I so afraid of? When I unplugged, I went, I'm free. Now I can go anywhere. You can do the same thing. And this is what's happening in our world. And there's a whole group of people that are saying, wait a second. They're waking up and saying, you've been lying to me. Let's look at our government. Let's look at corporate. You're lying to me. Why? To get what you want. So as long as you keep me plugged in, I'm feeding your intentions. I'm feeding your desires. I'm feeding your low frequency, serve me, ego-driven desires. Whose fault is that? McFly, you know what this is. Are you ready to step out of it? If you are, it's going to be a little scary, but like midnight comes around and all of a sudden you realize you just got rid of that option that wasn't working. It's a great place to be. Look at everything that you would like to change in your life and ask yourself, what is that behavior or thought pattern or beliefs that isn't good? And it probably starts with the negativity in your mind that is always blaming everybody. We're programmed to do that. Everything in media is to take a side, to make a choice for what works for them, not you. What do you want? There's nothing holding you back. And whatever that is, find out the people who have achieved that. Do you want your own property out there? Maybe you want to do events and have a, Airbnb or a space where people come and meditate or whatever you want. That's not so crazy. People are doing that right now. Everybody's downsizing that is letting go of the material world that is making them sick. But it's not lack. I'm happier than I've ever been in a different way because I'm not looking at the material world to make me happy. Is this an easy pathway? No, it isn't for any of us. So don't expect that to go away. But all of a sudden you have control over your life and you're going to feel like, yeah, I know I can change that. If you don't like it, you can change it. Learn from it, change it. Take a look at where you are. Get a pencil out, get a journal and say, what are these things? What am I doing that's not changing that? What do I keep doing to fuel that? What plug do I need to unplug from? Is it institutions, corporations, anything, organizations of any kind that I'm believing and I'm fueling them? So if you, and don't, hey, entrepreneurs, come on over. I just had a mentor, a really cool guy, say, so do you have any competition? I said, no, not really, not for exactly what I do. And I said, if I was an investment banker, somebody told me that, I'd stop talking to them. I would say everybody has competition. But the truth is, people just want to earn money. And Digital Explorers, guys, sign up for it if you're interested. What am I doing? I'm telling people that we can earn money, but we have to do it responsibly. And not a lot of people want to do that. That's not of interest to them. They think that the money's going to make them happy. But there's a new world out there where you can have both. Don't think you're giving up anything just because you're doing the right thing or serving others. You will be more satisfied, healthier, happier, and abundant than you ever have been in your life. And all of a sudden you'll realize this is what it's all about. You're whole and perfect, strong and powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. Blessings to you, my friend. Namaste.